Hello and welcome back to Realm of Thrones. So here we are. I actually have a party of 124 units, and there's been quite a... Well, on the one hand, there's actually been quite a lot going on, but on the other hand, maybe not so much. It very much depends on what you consider there to be activity. So if you don't think of things like, eliminating bandit hideouts and leveling up your troops and doing tasks and so on and so forth, if you don't consider that activities or interesting or whatever, then, well, I haven't been doing that much. However, if you do, then I've been doing quite a bit. Also, I have already seen Lord Varys. As you can see, we actually got him. He is an absolutely insane companion. He cost me 71,000 to recruit. And as you can see here, he has 250 in steward skill, which is an absolute... He's just a monster in terms of steward skill. And this is the only reason why I have 137 party size. You can see here, my quartermaster is currently providing me with 62 party troop size, which is absolutely incredible. And without him, I'd have about 80. So yeah, it's really... It just demonstrates the overall power of a really good quartermaster with good steward skill. Because obviously, if you think about it, think about how we started with this. Because obviously, I have Yara, right? We have Yara. She is a lord, but her steward skill is terrible. It's really, really bad. Anyway, Stout Defender is what I'm going to take here because then we get a plus 50% recruitment rate of tier 4 plus prisoners, even though that is not something I'm actually going to be utilizing that much unless we have a significant amount of tier 6 or tier 5 enemy prisoners to take. That's pretty much the only time I'm going to be doing that. Anyway, we're going to be going in here against an enemy vassal. Technically, this is not really an enemy vassal. It is just a person that has rebelled from the twins fief, and the twins fief itself is continuing to have problems, and well, that's pretty obvious. Yeah, it's pretty obvious because that happens almost all the time. Not sure why the Iron Islands is like that, but they do tend to, well, they do kind of silly stuff when it comes to the twins, because obviously they already have debasement of the currency policy instituted, which it's just terrible. As I said in the previous episode, I think of it as probably one of the worst policies in the whole game, just because it doesn't really do much. It does provide the ruler clan with more money. That's it. That's it. And then it just lowers your loyalty by a significant amount. So it's really kind of terrible. Anyway, apart from that, we did actually have our child with Yara. She has given birth to a baby girl, and we also have another pregnancy on the way, which is actually quite amazing. I didn't realize that was going to be so fast once again. But yeah, we're actually doing a fantastic job with that. It's nothing I'm doing, of course, but it is nice to see nevertheless, because if I do, get in a situation where I'm gonna, well, die. Let's not jinx it, even though I just did. But, if I do get in that kind of situation, then at least we have someone that I can take over the control over. And that's actually super funny, really, because if you think about it, as I said before, Yara is basically us in terms of statistics. She has about the same skills as my own character here, Elias, does. And it's really quite strange, because I usually see enemy vassals or allied vassals, depending on who you're looking at the time. Usually they all have a decent amount of steward skill. Usually they're going to have, like, I don't know, 80 or so in steward skill, maybe 60 in some cases. And I have never once before seen a vassal that has a lower steward skill than ever before. And this is exactly what's happened with Yara here. She has about the same that I do, which is an absolute... It's almost criminal, actually. Almost criminal that we have such a low steward skill. But obviously, we can't really do much about that most of the time, I mean, If that happens, then that happens, but yeah, that's just how it is. Anyway, I'm actually going to attempt something in this episode. Wow, we basically lost no troops whatsoever. That was actually quite astounding. Anyway, we are not going to be taking a prisoner because I'm just going to gain some influence, going to gain some relation. I don't really care about taking a prisoner too much. My main reason for doing this is to level up my troops, of course. This is the main purpose of this whole thing. And we're just going to be getting a couple of mounted troops. That's the main thing that I'm wanting to get from enemy prisoners. I just want to get mounted troops because my main concern going forward is that I'm not going to have enough access to cavalry because the Iron Islands are, as far as I can tell at least, only having one line of cavalry within their troop trees. So if you see here, the horsemen, they've got 130 in polearms and in riding skill and in everything that is, you know, somewhat applicable to them in terms of fighting. But that's the thing. That's it. It's just a tier 5 unit. Otherwise, apart from that, they have infantry. These guys. And these are the noble troops. And I do have a couple of these. I do have a couple of noble troops in my party here. As you can see, I actually do have some Kraken units, and we also have some Reavers as well, which is actually quite amazing. And we also have a lot of Ravagers too, so it seems like I've actually done a pretty decent job of recruiting noble troops. Very surprising, actually. Usually I'm not that good at doing that. Usually I just recruit randomly and, you know, just end up having a, you know, 70-30 split or something like that. But it seems like we're actually doing a pretty good job of getting those powerful units implemented into our party here, incorporated, shall we say. Anyway, what I'm actually going to try to do here is I'm going to try to capture Castamere. If we can capture Castamere and maybe cause some kind of conflict to occur with an opposing faction, that's probably going to be one of the best ways that we can lure enemy vassals in, because obviously Castamere is quite far away from anyone, which may indeed either help us or hamper us. Not sure if either one is going to really work, because if we... Wow, that was easy. Because that's the thing. If we decide to take this, which I think we're probably going to go ahead and try, because I think it's going to be quite fun to do it anyway. But that's the thing. If we go ahead and do it, and then an enemy faction declares war against us, obviously, we're not at war against anyone right now, but let's just say that, I don't know, maybe the Westerlands is going to declare war on us or something like that. Then we have the possibility of doing a siege defense. I know someone actually did suggest doing a bunch of siege defenses, so I thought, okay, well, I'm not at war against anyone right now, and maybe what we can do is, maybe we can figure it out, you know, maybe we can get something to occur just by, you know, doing something specific. Ah, there's a bunch of robber knights here. These are going to be extremely good for us to attack. Can I get them into a battle? Yes, I can. Unfortunate that we only got 20 of them, but we directly counter these robber knights, basically, because they are literally just cavalry, and most of my people have pole arms, and they're very, very effective against mounted troops. So there's also that. Anyway, I'm doing fantastically in terms of money, as you might expect. I have been upgrading my town. I've been returning there every so often to just, you know, queue up a bunch of additional buildings, structures, you know, whatever you want to call them. And that is actually going pretty well, as you might expect. I mean, Lordsport, definitely one of the best fiefs that we could have gotten. And as you can see, my taxes are incredible, gaining a significant amount from that. And yeah, otherwise, apart from that, I've also been doing the strategy that I like to use to level up troops, which, as you saw, I don't know whether you saw that just now, but when we went into the bandit hideout, I basically choose tier 3 or tier 2 or a mixture of those kinds of units, and then all I do is I tell them to charge, and I stay back. I don't actually do anything to assist them in that particular endeavor, because if I do that, well, I'm going to steal experience from them, and that's not what I want. My main concern right there is to get my forces into personal combat with a bunch of enemy units and for them to get that experience. And that's the point of it. And so I basically just send them in, and usually that results in all of those troops leveling up. And so I don't actually need to use high tier troops to be able to make that work. Anyway, I think I'm probably going to be going for mounted patrols here. I think this seems like a pretty decent idea. Minus 50% escape chance for prisoners. I think that sounds nice. And otherwise, we're going to be besieging this. Let me actually just see here real fast. I have a really good amount of engineering. So technically, if we make this count, because we're not actually at war against anyone at the moment, so that means that I don't need to worry about enemy vassals coming out of nowhere and attempting to murder us. This basically means that I can take as long as I want to in regards to leveling up my engineering skill. So this is actually a really nice way for us to power level a little bit as well. So for example, let's say that I want to build some trebuchets, and then once I've built the trebuchets, I'll build some catapults, and then I'll build some ballistas, and I just get rid of that every single time. And I just make it easier for us to just level up our engineering. I mean, you can see here that my engineering is leveling up pretty quickly as it is. But obviously, you know, it's going to level up a lot faster when we have these things being built. So technically what I could do is just let them be built and then, you know, have them be destroyed or something like that. But, you know, all things considered, I feel like it would probably be a good idea to just keep them around just in case. Because, as you can see, the combat strength is not that one-sided. So it is very, very likely that we might have some issues here. Anyway, we've got some torsion engines that we certainly want to do. Usually what I'd like to go for is torsion engines just because of the build speed to ranged siege. But the plus 30% to shield hit points can be extremely useful if you are relying on your shield a great deal. For me personally, my shield hasn't really been destroyed that often, so torsion engines is of course going to be the pick for me at the moment. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be the pick for you. Maybe you want to have more shield durability. Maybe that's more important to you. And in which case, that's great. You should definitely do that. Anyway, I'm going to be building some of these things now as well. Let's get some battering rams and siege towers built too. And yeah, oh yeah, by the way, my companions. Yeah, that's another thing that I have to mention real fast. My companions have been a source of a little bit of grinding my gears. Yeah, a little bit of frustration right there, because what they have tended to do now is whenever I create a caravan from them, they decide in their infinite wisdom to go and get themselves captured by some random bandits. Yeah, that tends to happen nowadays. So that is unfortunate, because it would have been absolutely wonderful if they could have continued just being caravans, because let's face it, anytime you can actually get a caravan up and running and they actually, you know, give you some money, it's good if they actually stay relevant, because if they get defeated very shortly after you hire them, you've just lost basically all the money that you've spent to hire them to begin with, which is very sad, because that means that, you know, you're obviously in the red pretty badly there, and you know, that's pretty terrible. But well, that notwithstanding, of course, the other thing is, of course, that they are just not being very useful in general, because obviously if they're not being caravans, if they're not being caravan leaders or anything like that, then they're not really going to have much use either way. So that's a little bit sad, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, as you can see, my catapults are being destroyed. Ah, there we go. Yara has actually given birth once again. Wow, that is some pretty quick work right there. And hopefully we'll be able to get another pregnancy going after this siege. Am I doing okay in terms of food? Yes. I was actually a bit worried about that for a real quick second. Anyway, we're going to let our trebuchets do the job. I'm going to get all of my siege towers and everything away from here, because there is basically no point, you know, there is really no point in doing that. But as you can see, look at my engineering right now. My engineering is going crazy, or it was going crazy. Now not so much. There we go. I think, okay, wait a minute. I think I worked out something right now. Yeah, I think I worked out something. So basically, whenever our trebuchets damage enemy siege engines, that seems to be giving me more engineering skill than basically anything else in the entire time that I have been besieging this. So basically what I can do is I can just stand here. I can just stand here for an infinite amount of time. Well, as much time as is allowed by my food supplies, because my food is very rapidly dwindling at the moment. But nevertheless, I think I should probably go in just a second once it gets to daytime again. There we go. We're going to go in around about now. I don't know whether we should keep our trebuchets up, but I'll just leave them for the moment, because maybe they're going to be useful. Who knows? Maybe they will be useful, but anyway, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go in, and we'll see what we can do. I am going to be getting a lot, hopefully getting a lot of experience from this. I'd like to level up my athletic skill, hopefully get to 275, finally. And the walls are down, of course, so this should be quite simple. Yeah, I'm getting shot from over there. Definitely want to try and avoid getting absolutely murdered by them. Nice headshot. Okay, so I've got to be careful here as well, because these guys are going to... Yeah, as you can see, they're going to try to sally out a little bit here. Are my forces actually doing anything right now, or are they just standing there? I'm actually not entirely sure. Where are they? Well, this is not particularly good, is it? Well, I can get some headshots, I suppose. I'm just going to tell my forces just to charge in. Makes no sense otherwise. Well, it's rather unfortunate that they seem to be running away back into the garrison. I was hopeful that we'd be able to pick off a couple more of them, but maybe this is going to work to our advantage. As you can see, we can get some nice, easy headshots coming in here. And hopefully I'm going to be able to actually get up to one of the archer replenishment barrels, because that's obviously going to really help us a great deal to get more bow skill. Obviously I need to use my arrows before I can actually make use of those things, so might as well just start firing randomly into the opponent, and hopefully we're going to get some good kills from that. Well, it seems like the range is not so much of an issue as much as my aim is, so I should probably just make things a little bit easier for myself and just aim downwards slightly, because this bow is very, very strong, and you're going to need to aim a little bit lower than where you would actually like to hit, because of the arc of the arrow's travel path. Anyway, there we go. We've got some more arrows here. Unfortunately, it seems as though this is indeed the end. Kind of wanted to do a little bit more here, but these fellows were pretty easy to eliminate, because of course they were all militia, and you know, there being only militia really makes a huge difference, and that's the reason why you know, starving out the garrison first is usually a good idea. But of course they had no garrison to begin with, so you know, that's neither here nor there. But you know, in a normal siege, in a normal situation, you're going to always have a garrison to deal with. And look at that, we actually gained 3.6. Why did I say 3.6? No, it's not 3.6, but we gained a pretty decent amount of renown right there. 11.6, wasn't it? Or something like that? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, we have now taken this, which is rather cool. And I'm not entirely sure what to even do here. It doesn't really... it doesn't really matter to me, that's the thing. Party morale change, minus 15, prosperity loss. Yeah, okay, well, whatever, we'll just do that, I guess. And we're just gonna wait here for some time. Just gonna wait here for some time, because you never know what's gonna happen. Maybe because we have now taken this, it is going to hopefully say to the nearby factions, ooh, look at this. This is a very lucrative castle for you to attempt to take. That's kind of the hope at the very least. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to happen, of course, but could be kind of cool. I don't know. They're not going to give this to me, that's for sure. They're going to give that to someone else. I'm going to vote for this guy. How do I have so much charm skill, by the way? I mean, not charm skill. How do I have so much influence? Because it seems to have happened all of a sudden, because I, not long ago, just before I started recording, didn't I have like 100 or something like that? I don't know. That seems a bit weird. Anyway, we're voting for road tolls. What is this? Trade tax paid to the town owner is increased. And town prosperity. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, sure. Why not? Just gonna get some some easy relation with this guy. You never know. Maybe it's going to be coming in handy somewhat later. But as you can see, look at our combat strength. The Iron Islands has increased their combat strength by a significant margin. Because last time in the previous episode, I took a look at their combat strength and we literally had... What was it now? 6,000, I think? I think we had 6,500 or something near to that. And now we have 8,000. So... doing pretty well in that regard, but obviously that very much depends on whether it stays that way. Which it almost certainly won't, of course, because we're going to be going into battles. And people are going to be losing troops, and so on. I actually do need to go in to fight these broken men real fast. Because this is actually what I've been doing, basically. Any single time I see a bandit party or something that has a slightly higher than average number, I'm just going to go in and auto-resolve against them, get us a decent amount. You know, I'm not talking about a huge amount, but a decent amount of experience. And that has actually helped me to level up my troops rather well over the course of the time that I've been off screen. And also, of course, the the wonderful side benefit of going into those bandit hideouts, like I've already said, you know, doing that really does make it a lot easier for you to level up your own people. Wow, they have a lot of food. How does Lannisport have so much money as well? Yeah, look at that. That's absolutely insane. Alright, well, I'm just going to buy as much as I can here. Well, not as much as I can, but I'm going to buy a lot. And let's get a couple of these. Need to make sure I don't go over the limit. Just going to buy a huge amount of other stuff as well. There we go. Just going to sell all this just to kind of counterbalance it. This is actually a perfect place for us to go and sell all of our stuff. Because look at this. Yeah, I've got to remember this actually for other playthroughs of Realm of Thrones. If I ever have a significant amount of inventory, I should literally just come to Lannisport. Because apparently they have an exceptional amount of cash, and that's really going to make a huge difference overall. You know, generally, I have had so many times in the past gone into a marketplace only to find that they have about 70 to 80,000, and yes, sure, that's actually a pretty decent amount, but it's actually not that... What is going on here? Wow, this is actually incredible. It's actually not that amazing to have, you know, 70 to 80,000. I mean, yeah, it's good, but it's not like, you know, breaking the bank 220k or however much these guys had. So, yeah, now here's the issue. We don't have many cavalry, which is a bit of a problem. So what I want to do is I actually want to get a couple more of these, but we need to be careful about herding problems. So what I'm going to try is we will try to get as many of these as possible, and then we'll see if herd is actually coming in. Doesn't seem like it is. No, it isn't. Wow, this is actually working quite well here. Okay, and we're increasing our speed dramatically, so this is really, really good. Wow, yeah, look at that. Okay, that's working really, really well. Actually, surprisingly well. Now, here's the thing. I'm actually blown away by how many saddle horses, how many regular horses they had, and how many war mounts and noble mounts, especially. How many noble mounts they have. I mean, literally, look at this. They have 181 noble mounts. I can only say that I assume that they are literally just... I don't even know. They must just be creating a huge amount of these through their villages? No, that's actually not even true. They only have one village nearby. That is actually incredible. No idea how they're able to do that, but now I'm moving much, much faster than I was before, so I'm pretty happy with this. And I think I'm actually going to be going into this tournament here. Yeah, there is actually a King's Destrier available. I've been pretty lucky over the course of the last couple of in-game years. I think it has been in-game years, actually. I'm not entirely sure how long it's been since the previous episode, but I think I've been pretty lucky because I have been able to participate in tournaments that actually provide me... Whoa, that guy literally just didn't even bother defending. Yeah, so that's the point. Like, that's the thing that I've been gifted with so far, where there's been a number of tournaments where I could just go in and win a noble mount almost immediately. And it's just Like, that just doesn't happen, you know? It just doesn't happen usually. Most of the time, I am gifted with, I don't know, some braces or some boots or something like that, but being able to gain a noble mount every single time you go into a tournament, that's just incredible. You know, being able to do that as well if you are, you know, starting at the beginning of the game, that's also going to be a huge boon to you, because you know, obviously if you know this, or if you don't know this, then well, I'm going to tell you anyway. But the fact is, getting a noble mount in a tournament is literally one of the best things that you can do early game, and probably the one way that is going to get you 15,000 gold in one fell swoop. It's just so incredibly simple and fast to do that. And I mean, you can see here, I mean, how did this guy get to the final round? Look at his gear. He's got absolutely terrible gear. Look at that. I have no idea how he got to the final round, but he must have, I don't know, he must have had slightly higher than average skills or something like that. That must have been the only reason why that happened. But yeah, anyway, yeah, so as I say, basically doing a tournament, getting a noble mount is far and away the best way to get money early game. If you can get noble mounts consistently, that is, you know, obviously if you can't get noble mounts consistently, then it's still good, but it is not obviously the, you know, well, the far and away the best. You know, it is one of the best, but not so dramatically good. Anyway, so let's have a look, see here. Maybe I can actually get a caravan to actually last a little bit longer. As you can see, we do need to top up our town a little bit here. As you can see, my orchards are just about done. We need to get siege workshop, militia grounds, aqueducts, all that wonderful stuff built as well. Marketplace is already also coming in. But you can see here, look at the prosperity. Look at my prosperity right here. Look at this. It's +5 every single day. Absolutely incredible. It really is. And I can also go into the garrison here too. And I'm actually wondering, do they have any nobles? Buccaneers? Buccaneers are the regular unit. What about Reavers? Reavers are the noble unit, so we might want to take a couple of those. We could also take some Axe Masters, but they are just the regulars, of course. Then we have House Greyjoy. They are the other ones. Okay, they are the other ones over there. Wreckers, we're not going to take those. Ravagers, we could take a couple of Ravagers. That seems like a nice idea too. Not sure whether I want to... you know what? I'm just going to take some of these. Why not? There we go. Yeah, Lordsport already has a pretty significant presence in their garrison, so we don't really need to go too hard on that. But yeah, we're going to just leave them with what they have right now. And of course, our governor is going to do an absolutely fantastic job in regards to completing tasks and, you know, sorting out issues. And that's also a reason why our town is doing fantastically. But yeah, you can see here, this is currently what's going on in terms of the map. Nothing really dramatic has happened too much, as far as I can tell. No, I don't think so. I think obviously if you take a look over here in Essos, things are dramatically changing, as you see here. House Targaryen has swept over one of the towns of the Valentines, and I think is maybe attempting to take something else there. Oh well, there's a rebel faction going on. But apart from that, there doesn't seem to be much going on. As you can see, the Reach has, well, stayed where they are. And let's see what's going on here. No, Dawn has seemed to retain most of their territory too. And the Westerlands as well. The Iron Islands is attempting, every single time we go to war, they are attempting to expand a little bit. And that actually makes me wonder, what do you think about declaring war against the Westerlands? Can we actually try to do that? We have 0% support for this, probably because the Westerlands has such an incredible total strength. That is probably the reason for that. But I'm now thinking, well, how are we going to get stronger if we don't take on stronger opponents? That's the problem. I mean, that's the thing. We already, I don't know, if we only go against the North, and I mean, you can see here that the North themselves also have 15,000. So both of these factions are extremely strong. So I'm not sure whether it really makes sense for us to not declare war against them for any reason at all. I don't know. It seems like we're not really having the ability to make too many inroads here. So maybe I need to start doing something. I mean, that's the reason why I've actually been trying super hard to get as much renown as possible and level up my troops as much as possible as well. Because obviously, you know, I can't get too much renown as it is at the moment because I'm not able to enter into larger battles, unfortunately. I'm going to go for Bullseye here, even though that's not really going to be that effective. Dungeon Architect is really what I want to do here because a minus 25% chance of ranged siege engines getting hit while under bombardment. This is, in my opinion, really, really good. The 10% to hit points is not so good, in my opinion, so that's why I'm not taking it. I'm going to be leveling up my leadership skill once again because leadership is actually quite good at increasing your party size, and when you are a person like me that has a low renown value in total, it's a good idea. And what's actually going on with why? Oh yeah, that was the caravan. The caravan literally just took a huge amount of money from me for some reason. Don't know why that happens. I guess they're buying goods, but that's never happened to me before, so I'm not entirely sure. But whatever the case, hopefully they're actually going to be getting me some profit. I highly doubt it, actually, but yeah. Anyway, I will now wait here for some time. I'm actually going to wait in the town, and we're going to see whether someone decides to declare war, and we're very much crossing our fingers and hoping that it's going to be the Westerlands. Well, unfortunately, it is not the Westerlands, and it hasn't been too long since I cut away. However, I'm thinking, you know what, maybe we want to take advantage of this. I mean, this is a huge, huge problem for the Iron Islands. They are very easily getting themselves into loyalty problems just purely for the fact that debasement of the currency is still active. Also, the fact that they're not able to get a governor in there or someone of the same culture as this, because apparently the culture is free houses. I'm actually not entirely sure how that's even supposed to work, because I am not entirely sure who the free houses are at this point, because if you take a look at the factions here, there is no culture like that, so that's a bit, I don't know, that's a bit strange. But whatever the case, I am going to call for an army here. I know, amazing that I'm actually going to call for an army, isn't it? So let's just call for some people to come and join us here. Spend a little bit of influence to do that, and then we're going to besiege it. We are actually going to besiege the twins ourselves, and this is of course going to give me a pretty significant amount of engineering skill, hopefully over time, and it's also going to give me some good leadership too, and hopefully get me a couple of level ups in the process. So now here's the thing, what do we want to do? Well, I'm thinking probably we want to build trebuchets, because getting the walls down is probably going to make the most sense, and considering, oh, we do actually have someone coming to help us here as well. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so me now getting the walls down seems like a little bit of a moot point, but I still feel like maybe it would be a good idea for my engineering skill. I don't know. I think it probably would be a good idea, even though, as you can see right here, we just absolutely overwhelm the opponent in almost every single respect. But this is going to get me a lot of engineering skill here, so I'm just going to let this play out, and we'll see what happens. That vassal would have been actually really good for us to fight as well, but hopefully, I don't know whether we're going to get well, any renown for this at all, because it's such a dramatic overpowering force that we're just really not going to have too much of the I don't know, too much of the way of getting decent renown for it. But what else can I do? You know, what else can I do? I have to do sieges sometimes, and maybe if I do this siege, maybe they're going to give it to me, and then I might be able to actually do something. Let's have a look here. Plus 33% hit points or plus 50% ammunition. No, we're going to go for plus 50% ammunition to ranged troops when besieging. This is obviously going to be extremely good for us. And, oh yeah, I'm not in command of the siege anymore. Yeah, he is. He's in command of the siege. So that's actually quite funny. Yeah, he's just going to go straight on in. Of course he is, of course. What a classic. Yeah, I was very much hoping that we would be able to lead our own forces here. But we're going to get some renown anyway, and maybe we'll get some good skill up too. Oh, wow, there... What? Why are you coming out, guys? This is probably not the best idea for them. Considering I can pretty easily eliminate them here. Although, to be fair, eliminating them is a lot easier said than done. I don't seem to have very good chances of shooting these guys for some reason. Oh, there we go. Actually getting a couple of headshots now, so that's definitely going to help out. Oh, we got some more enemies coming in from the side. What? What are these guys doing? They're making themselves easy targets right now. I think they're attempting to sally out, but in doing so, they're actually making things a lot easier for us. That's very strange. Oh, there's my horse. Hello. My horse is having a fun time. Oh, I am getting absolutely murdered. I should not have been the first person to go in there. Thankfully, I've got some good armor, and these guys literally do not have good weapons. So, I'm not taking too much damage as a result. There we go. We can just shoot these guys. And we can hopefully... Anyone else? Oh, hello there. A bunch of people coming down. Well, that seems to be it, actually. Yeah, I mean, were we expecting anything different from this? No, not really. You know, with what was it, 1,700 troops? Yeah, this is kind of the reason why I feel like it would be really, really cool if we could get a proper war on our hands. But there are so few people that are willing to actually commit to any kind of war that it's looking very unlikely that we're even going to be able to get something going. So unless one of the opposing forces decides to declare war against us, I highly doubt we're going to be getting anything going here, which is unfortunate. But that's just how it is, you know? That is just how it is. So let's actually just let those guys go in randomly. We're just going to take these veteran bowmen here, and we'll take all the loot, or as much loot as we can. And there we go, we've taken it. You were able to loot your fallen foes, but you do not participate in the sack of the town as you are not part of the army that took it. Right. Okay, did they actually sack the town? I don't think so. I mean, well, maybe they did actually. I don't know, but you can see how incredibly, you know, fast the loyalty is going to go down. It's just going to slide instantly down into the negatives again. And then we're going to have rebellion on our hands once more. So there's also that. Anyway, I'm going to be disbanding the army now because, of course, we're done with with the very short-lived war that we had against the rebellion. But you know, that's the opportunity that has been afforded us, and so that's all that we can do. Really, we can't really decide one way or another what we want to go for there. But we could also fight these fellows. Hello there. Let us settle this according to the old ways. I expect you to surrender. Oh, should you lose? He's actually allowing me to do this. This is fun. Okay, this is the kind of thing that I really, really like. The AI actually deciding to do a little bit of a different thing one time. Because usually they don't do that. Usually they're just like, no, we are going to be stubborn. We're going to do the exact same thing we do every single time. But thankfully, no, they didn't do that this time. As you can see, we just completely dominated him in a duel. And now we can go into the battle. Where's the surrender? Where's the surrender, fellow? Okay, apparently he's not surrendering. Oh well. I guess that's just how it is. But yeah, let's give... who's actually going to take care of this properly? I don't know. That's the problem here. I mean, I would probably take care of it better than anyone else could, because I can balance the loyalty much better than the AI, because the AI is literally just going to do the, you know, the brain dead thing, where they just, you know, build as much stuff as possible, and they don't actually care about the loyalty at all, ever, and then the loyalty just slowly decreases all the way into rebellion territory, and then we have this kind of situation happen over and over again, you know? That's the kind of thing that tends to happen now. with the twins specifically. And it would actually be a really cool idea if we had more supporters. That's kind of the reason why I'm trying to increase my relation with a number of different lords. Because then, what I can do is if I actually bring up that I want to remove the policy, you know, debasement of the currency, or if I want to institute forgiveness of debts or something like that, then I might actually be able to get that going instead of having a brick wall as my only answer. So hopefully that will happen. But again, it's one of those things where we just can't really determine when that is going to happen, if at all. So I'm basically just trying to build up relations here. Of course, this game it's not a sprint. You gotta bear that in mind. I think some people, I don't know. Some people tend to think that this game is a sprint, or you know, should be played in a fast-paced, arcadey sort of fashion. But that's really not how it is. You know, you have to spend a lot of time in the game doing things. And whether that is, you know, just taking care of your kingdom, taking care of your own finances, or just generally running around trying to grind up renown, or anything of this particular type, it's all going to take time. You know, it's not something that will happen overnight. And I think that's what some people tend to forget, which is quite weird considering, you know, it is a game that does take time to do stuff. And obviously if you don't want it to take time, then you need to learn speedrunning strategies. And if you want to learn speedrunning strategies, then that's absolutely fine too. You can definitely go ahead and do that. I'm not stopping you. No one's stopping you from doing that. But obviously, if we are playing a regular campaign without using speedrunning strategies, then you can expect it to take just as long as it would take in a normal situation, you know what I mean? But yeah, sometimes, who knows? Who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe I will institute some of those strategies, because they are really very innovative most of the time. There's a lot of tactics in the past that I've decided to use in Warband, for example, and it has always worked out really, really nicely, actually, surprisingly so. But of course, you know, if you're a speedrunner, or if you know the speedrunning community, usually if they don't use glitches or anything like that, and it is just a clever use of game mechanics in some way or another, then, you know, using it in a normal playthrough is going to be really, really fun and can be very beneficial. But obviously that is only if it doesn't use a glitch of some kind, because I don't know, I feel like using a glitch tends to take away from the fun. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. It very much depends on what you want to do. Because obviously glitches can sometimes be fun too, you know? They can be a lot of fun to see, but maybe not so much to use in an actual series, unless it is just a very clever demonstration of that. Anyway, I think that's probably going to be it for this episode, because we're not really having any luck with war at the moment. But I am very much hoping that we will be able to get some war soon enough. Not sure if we have any support for anything right now. Doesn't seem like it. I'm thinking the North is probably going to declare war against us sometime soon. And maybe the Westerlands as well, now that we've taken Castamere. Or maybe I just need to be a little bit antagonistic and try to raid some things. Who knows? Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.